Okay, well, good evening, everyone. My name is Pat Graham. I'm going to be your instructor for this course for EDL 699. First of all, can everyone hear me okay? If so, just if you wouldn't mind typing in the bottom of that chat window, just kind of checking our audio before we get started. I mean, if you can't see me, that's probably okay. Seriously. It would be a light like to hear you. There's a lot of background noise, okay? Don't know if there's much that I can do about that, and I apologize. Is it preventing you from actually hearing me okay? Yes, perhaps let's check everybody. Make sure that your microphones are off here tonight. Need to double check everyone. Just make sure. There we go. Okay, how is that? Does that sound a little bit better? Is it sounding any clearer yet? Yeah, I think we have everyone's microphone off now. Okay, sounds the same. I apologize. It looks like we do have everybody muted, with the exception of mine, and so I do apologize for that. We're going to move a little closer to the mic. Maybe it'll help here as well. Well, anyway, welcome everybody here to the for the orientation for 699, the leadership internship. And again, my name is Pat Graham, and I'll be working with you over the course of the next, well, from now until probably December. And again, hopefully everyone will be finished by December. Some folks need to stretch this just a little bit longer because of situations in their life. But the plan is to have you completely done with this program by around December 15th of next year. Or actually, if you're able to do your internship within the summer, finishing by the end of summer. But anyway, just to introduce myself, I was in K-12 for 20 years, 18 years as a classroom teacher, another 2 more years as an administrator, building level principal, and central office administrator. Very varied experiences in teaching adult education. I've taught at community education. I've done training and development. I've done consulting, and so kind of working in many different areas. Of course, teaching at the university level as well. And I do work out of our Mount Pleasant office here at Central Michigan University. When you get emails from me, you'll see something that maybe says University Communications, because I do work for University Communications as well, doing the marketing for online education programs. But again, glad to have you, and I live, of course, locally here in the Mount Pleasant area. So tonight, just what we're going to talk about briefly, we're going to have some discussion, of course, on... Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about what the 2 phases are like. We call them phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is all the activities getting you ready to actually do your internship. Now, although it may seem like, one is one semester and one is the next, it doesn't need to be. If you're able to get all of your phase 1 activities done, let's say in the first month or 2 of the course, then you're able to move right into phase 2 after I give you the go-ahead. You're able to go right into phase 2 and start your actual groundwork in your internship. So we'll talk a little bit about the requirements that are for these 2 different phases. Now, first of all, the purpose of our internship. Now, as you see, and I have things highlighted here intently, a planned and supervised learning experience. Okay, first of all, you'll be creating an internship plan. You are the one, you and your mentor will actually create the activities that you would like to pursue to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. Now, the thing is, these activities and goals do also align with the ELCC standards. And we'll talk more about that as we go on here to talk about that one assignment. But again, we want to make sure that you have a very well-rounded experience. My goal is that you have a much, much better experience than I had. And mine was not done through CMU. Mine was done through another university. But just to let you know, I did a whole lot of parking lot duty. And that was much of my experience. And we want yours, of course, to be much varied and balanced type of an experience that you have. So first of all, it's going to be planned. You and your mentor will actually create those activities together to meet your goals. Now, the thing that's very important to understand, too, is it's a flexible plan. If you're going through your internship and some opportunity comes up by your mentor, it would just be outstanding. Absolutely, we'll want you to be able to go for that. If you're making a major change to the goal you set for yourself, just run it by me first, and you should be all set. So it's a planned experience. The next thing is supervise. You will be working closely with your mentor, and choosing your mentor is very, very important. We'll talk more about that later as well. But your mentor has to be a person who is not already so busy they have no time for you. It's an administrator who is going to be an instructor again. They're going to be teaching you all the ropes of being an administrator through experience. What are those things that you're going to be doing with your mentor? Going to meetings with them, sitting in on student meetings with them or parent meetings. Anywhere that you have permission to be with your mentor and the school district, we want you to be able to participate and experience those things that perhaps as a classroom teacher you didn't have that opportunity. And so again, gain through first-hand observations, operational responsibility. So experience. As you may know, and I think that some of you, I believe, are already administrators, but those who are, you know that you learned so many things during that very first year of being an administrator that you hadn't learned just through your classroom. And it's almost like being a teacher. There's so many things you may have learned in your methods courses, but until you were standing in front of students for the first time with the training wheels off, you learned a whole lot that first year. I can remember what it was like for myself. And so, again, the experience is the important part of this. Now, as you're going through your plan, you're going to say, well, Pat, there's 7 ELCC goals, but you're only going to be doing your plan based on 6. That's because the 7th one deals with having an experience like we're providing here for you with your internship. So the rationale, why we're doing this, is in collaboration with the faculty and using your mentor, you're going to be enhancing your skills through this realistic situation. And just like we said, it really is taking all the theory, the things that you've been learning in your other courses, and being able to apply them. That's what we hope for you, is to be able to actually take what you're learning and put them to actual use, because things that are great in just theory aren't that great. These things need to also be applied within your particular school setting that you're going to be working in. So how is this course broken down? Well, first of all, it is credit, no credit. And you'll find that I'm a person who will be contacting you very frequently. I will be contacting you, asking you, how's it going? Well, when I mean that, and when I say that, I'm not going to really accept a response back that says, going great, thanks. No. That's not what I want. How's it going? What are you learning? What's going to happen? But much what I'll be doing is motivating you, pushing you, trying to lead you through this program. This will be the very first class you probably will have within this program that is really self-paced. It truly is. The only deadlines you're going to have is going to be one coming up in April 15th, where you need to have Phase 1 done. If you don't have Phase 1 done by April 15th, it's really not a big deal. You'll just continue in Phase 1 until you get that done. You'll be getting an incomplete or a Z grade until you've completed all your requirements and you've had your meeting between your mentor and I and you. But how it's going to be based is, first of all, you've already submitted your application. I don't think anyone here has one outstanding yet. You'll have your learning plan. This thing is very important. But the order that I have on the screen isn't quite what I want for you. What I would like you to actually be doing is you're going to be working on your organizational profile, which we're going to talk about here in a moment, and doing an observation of your mentors. That's literally the old thing we used to call job shadowing, if you want to say, where all you're doing is observing. And then, once you've done those two things, you're going to get a real good feel for the culture of your organization. You're really going to understand it better to now create the plan that you're going to have for it. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I've learned about the organization. I viewed my administrator with you. This is where I want to learn within ELCC Standard 1, ELCC Standard 2 and 3. These are the things that I want to be able to do, and here's how I'm going to meet those goals. These are the activities that I'm going to do to get there. And so that is kind of, and so what we see on the screen here, really, the internship application, the learning plan, the organizational profile, and your observation, really is is phase one. That's truly a part of phase one. Then we get into, you're going to be maintaining a log through the process. You're going to be going through your internship hours, collecting those hours. They'll be evaluated by your supervisor, your mentor supervisor as well. And then you're going to be having a complete portfolio, I believe you have, at the end of this as well, in the write-up that goes with that. The portfolio we're talking about here really is revisiting all of those activities that you did. You're going to, again, have 6 areas within ELC standards. You're going to have 6 different activity analyses, we call them, where you look at the activity, you summarize, this is what I did, but the important thing is, this is my reflection, this is what I learned from here. When I become an administrator, I'm going to make sure I do this. And these are the types of things that I think will really impact my school and my school environment when I go through this type of a situation again. So those are the components truly of this class. And again, just kind of a breakdown, points-wise, etc. here. I will be bugging you if I see you don't have something in yet. I'll be asking you, well, how's the organizational profile coming along? When will you be turning it in? How are these? I've gotten 1, 2, 4, and 5 of your activity analysis. How's 3 and 6 coming along? When should I expect it? So even though you're going to be self-paced, I'm going to be pushing you, trying to get these things going. Okay, not pushing you, maybe pulling you best I can. Okay, I believe more in a pull strategy than a push strategy. And so again, just your encourager. I will be your biggest supporter, helping you through these things. I'll be your go-to person when you have questions. I'll be the person that works with you to help solve perhaps some questions you may have regarding working with your mentor and whatever may be. I'll be the person that will be working through this thing with you. And so these are the kinds of things, like I said, again, that you'll be evaluated on based on those exact same things we just talked about through the 6 activity analyses, your observations, and your assessment when you get down to the end. If you have any questions, if you want to, go ahead and type those into the chat window. On the website, I'll be putting an FAQ section. And as you send me questions, because you'll be emailing me, texting me, calling me, whatever it may be, I'll take those questions that you ask. I'm going to put them into those FAQs, just so if someone else has the same question, you're able to answer, get the answer to that as well. So first of all, this program does have a set of standards. And again, I'm very proud of our program here at CMU, especially versus the one that I have gone through myself. But it is based on 2, the Michigan Standards for Preparation of School Principals, and of course the ELCC standards here as well for Administrators 2011. We know that there's going to be some updates to the standards, and this program will evolve as those standards are changed and the department gets those things worked through. Currently, it's not a process that I'm going to be involved in, but the department here at CMU will be updating those as well. So we say those standards are used because of their comprehensiveness, acceptance. As you know, I mean, it just really gives credibility to your program by using these standards in your program. So first of all, as we work with administrators and our mentors, and I'm one that likes to speak with our mentors especially, because they're out there practicing it, and I want to make sure that we're bringing those current things to our students. But these are the things that we have really found out about what our students need to know. First of all, leading with a vision. What is the vision? And you may have heard the biblical statement, without vision the people perish. Well, that's the thing that's important, is leading with a vision. Where do you see your school? Where do you visualize it? Where do you see your students going? Where do you see your staff going? Uh, there's many administrators, and I have met them, and actually, unfortunately, have worked with them that really do not want their staff to become leaders. It's really silly, but it's a power thing. But you should be leading with a vision for your staff. Where do you see them going as well? Because many times we focus mainly on where do we see our students and our teachers and our students in our school going, but not we don't focus on those that are helping to get them there. So leading with a vision, creating a culture or climate for student and faculty growth. I have somewhere on my desk here. Actually, I have a rock. I have a rock that many of you may have had Dr. Jenkins for any courses, the program director for this particular program. And he gave me a rock one time, and I had put this thing on there, and it was a statement that says, the only thing of real importance that leaders do is to create and manage culture. And I kind of keep this on my desk and remember that that's what leaders are doing is they're creating that culture for their school. It's kind of like this, and I apologize, and I'm not thinking of any school in particular when I say this, but I've been in various schools in various counties in Michigan around the area. And I've walked into high schools, and the very first thing I saw in the schools was a trophy case, all athletic trophies. And I think my own high school I graduated from is the same way. When I walk into a school and I see something like that, it kind of helps me think of this must be what's most important to this school in this district. And so, what do you want for your school? What do you want people to walk in your building and start grabbing and seeing what the culture is immediately? Is it sports? Perhaps. Is it student achievement? Perhaps. Is it student creativity? Perhaps. What do you want for your school? And that's part of creating a culture and a climate for their growth. So managing effectively. I hate to say dating my age, but I'm at an age where I was able to view many different management theories over life. My original bachelor's degree, let's see, that would be 37 years ago, about 34 years ago, was in business. And I can remember seeing the different types of management theories that went through, such as the old theory X, where you need to threaten your employees and they'll be motivated by being afraid to lose their jobs. Many different theories as we went through to today's theory, where we have much of participative leadership, okay, or we have servant leadership. You may have heard those terms. So managing effectively is something else we want our students to be when they leave this program and start working in their school. Okay, being able to work collaboratively with the community. Interesting word when you hear of school and community, and many of you may have already taken a course in school community relations. Unfortunately, many schools feel that working with the community means that the community gives things to the school all the time. It's a one-way relationship. And it really shouldn't be. A collaborative relationship is what can the school also do for the community? What resources can the school provide to those who are outside the school family within the community? So working collaboratively with the community. Integrity, ethics, very, very important as well. You'll actually have one of your goals will be wrapping around ethics. And then the last one here too is taking part, responding to the larger political, economic, legal, and cultural community. All the things outside of your doors that are affecting your school, your students, and your staff. So these are the standards that you are going to be actually working with as you create your plan. So again, looking at the internships, the ELCC standards, okay, the vision of learning is the first one. You'll be creating an activity that deals with the development, articulation, and stewardship of a vision of learning. You'll be creating one of your activities in your plan is going to deal with your school, your culture, and leadership as well, okay? Conducive to student learning or staff professional growth. Organizational management and safety. You are the instructional leader of your building when you become an administrator, but you're also making sure that people aren't slipping on the floors, that there's not hazards exposing and creating a problem with the safety and wellness of your students and your staff. And so you're going to be also looking at operations, maybe looking at human resources, all the different areas that deal with outside of the learning process you can learn for your students. Standard 4, working with families, working with communities. responding to the needs of the communities as well. And this is something that has changed over the years. Many years ago, when we were dealing with one-room schoolhouses or small community-based school districts, they were responding to what does our community need? What kind of workers do they need? What kind of graduates does this community need? We've kind of gotten away from that because we're using more national standards and things of that nature. But there's still many resources that we can provide our community, many needs our community still has that we can help to provide for. Standard 5, dealing with ethics. We're in an era where student performance is paramount to the reputation of a school. Scores, the standardized testing scores, so very, very important. And as you have heard several years ago, there was not in Michigan, but in another state, teachers and administrators going to prison over falsifying test scores of students in their school because they knew that the future of their school depended on their test scores. But so you're going to be doing an activity that deals with those ethics of being an administrator. And then also like you said, the larger system, okay, the politics, what laws are coming down the pipe, what laws and things are affecting your staff that they need to know about, that they may not know about, that you're going to help provide them that information out. And so those, again, are those 6 standards that you'll be doing your plan. And again, you'll be looking at these plans. All of you should have a copy of the ELCC handbook and also of the internship handbook, and then also a copy of the ELCC guide as well. And we'll have all of these broken down for you. So first of all, we talk about knowing yourself, doing a self-assessment. What kind of a person are you up front? It says your inclination to learn and improve as a current or aspiring school leader is rooted in deeply held beliefs, values, and previous experiences. Why do you want to become a school leader? That's what's important. Why do you want to become it? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want a master's degree and did not want it in reading and literacy, and so you thought of leadership. Perhaps. But if you want to be a leader, you got to ask yourself why. For what purpose? Obviously, it's not to get wealthy. Obviously, it's not to get June, July, and August off anymore. So why is that? Create your plan, and as you go through your internship, with that in mind, why am I doing this? What is with me that wants to be a school leader? And so, as you go through your process, there's going to be some revealing to yourself. You're going to be revealed as to this is the way I am, the way I feel. I can remember before I became a school leader, one of the reasons I did was because I couldn't stand my principal. This is a person who is unapproachable. This is a person who I, as a senior member on the as a teaching staff, decided that I was going to be a liaison between the brand new teachers and that principal because they were scared of it. That's kind of what was my trigger and said, this is why I want to be here, because I don't want to be like that other person. Now, you, on the other hand, may say, I want to be a leader because I want to be like this other person, who you're saying just an outstanding person who's impacting teachers, impacting students and their success, impacting families and the community. Perhaps that's the way that you want to go as well. So as you go through your program, you're going to kind of be doing this self-assessment on yourself. There are some self-assessment tools out there. The TELSA, absolutely. Looking at the areas of training and development leaders, the needs that you may have. You look at the scores there, it'll help to tell you where perhaps that you're going to be needing some improvement in the area. And then again, we said it is also maybe useful helping you what your foci, what your goals are for 6499. I would encourage you to take the TELSA as well. So we're going to just talk briefly about your progress. And I apologize, I'm going to have to be drinking some coffee on and off here. I came down with an upper respiratory and everything over our break, and so I'm kind of battling the last few stages of it. Yes. So, first of all, there's going to be 2 meetings in this course. And remember, what we're saying is, EDL 699 is phase 1 and phase 2. So we're going to be talking about both phases as we go through. First of all, the first meeting we have is this orientation right here. Okay, meeting with most all of you here face to face. We had a couple of people who had a conflict with 773, another course, and they're going to be required to view this, and I'm going to be holding some one-on-ones with those as well. But then you'll be having two other meetings with me, one-on-one, and your mentor, the three of us together. I had a student trying to schedule a meeting with just me and then just the mentor, and that's not how it works. It really is, because this is a group process, the three of us making sure that you are successful in the program. So you're going to be having two conferences. First, you're going to be having one after you've done your organizational profile, after you've done your 40 hours of, your 20 hours of mentor observations, after you've done your learning plan, then the three of us get together. The three of us then will meet, we'll talk about your plan. I'll give you some ideas for maybe some things to consider within your plan, and the only reason I will do that is to make sure that it aligns with our standards and is going to give you the best experience possible. And then the second one is when it is completely done. You're going to have two plans we're going to talk about. The first one, we call it a draft. It's a living document. You're going to go through the process, and you're going to be able to work out through your internship. The second one is the final one, where after you've gone through your internship, you had to make some changes to it as you went along. Now we have that final one, and we'll discuss on what you learned as you went through that as well. So your entire internship is 240 clock hours. That's the minimum. It's going to be more, absolutely. And what I always tell my students, I tell them, when you are done and you have finished this course, volunteer for every single opportunity you can as if you were still in the internship process. So you can keep gaining more experiences, more things to be putting on your resume, more things to make you marketable out in the workforce when your administrative position opens up for you. So as this kind of goes through, clockwise, starting with number one, there's the organizational profile. We will give you can record 40 hours of work creating and fulfilling your organizational profile. It's a very deep document, because it doesn't just look at how many students we have, how many on free lunch, male and female. No, it really breaks down all the way to your culture and the things of your school like that, as well as the physical building. What is it like? So you will be able to record 40 hours in phase one of doing your organizational profile. Then you'll be creating your internship learning plan. You and your mentor will start recording, start coming up with ideas together on how you'll be able to fulfill that. And then you'll submit that to me as well. And then you'll be doing your observations, and you can do number 2 and 3 at the same time. That's no problem whatsoever. So yes, you will be working on those together. And really, you can actually be doing number 1, your profile, and your observations 1 and 3 at the same time. I would just strongly recommend you do 1 and 3 before you do number 2. Because what you learn about your organization, the culture, everything about your organization, what you learn about your mentor as you're observing them will help you to create that learning plan as well. So you'll do those 3 things, and then you'll be having your pre-fieldwork conference, that very first conference with me, your mentor, and with you and I and your mentor. Those things are phase 1. Those must be completed by April 15th, or you'll have to get them incomplete. If you can do these things, and again, hours-wise, you're talking 60 hours, plus the time it takes for you to create the learning plan, as soon as you get that done, we'll be able to meet, and you'll be able to get started immediately on your phase 2. So once those things are done, I sign off on it saying, yes, Katie, Jennifer, Courtney, Andrew, you have gone through these steps, and I've approved the work you've done. Then you'll be able to start right into your field work for phase 2. So looking at phase 4, number 4 on there, your field work, 180 hours is part of phase 4. That's the minimum. Yes, you can do more. Number 5, you're going to be creating an internship log. That internship log will go, it'll help record hours from your organizational profile, your learning plan, all the way through. You'll be recording your hours out. I'll be mentioning it to you later, but we don't want, on your internship log, you will not be saying, and it won't be acceptable to say, organizational profile, I work 40 hours on it. No, you're going to be giving us dates and hours as you work through. So on 127, I worked 3 hours on the organizational profile, and these are the standards that I looked at. And you will have a guide on how to do your internship log as well. And then the next thing, number 6. This is when you have completed one of your activities or all of your activities. I recommend to my students, if they do get one of the activities done out of the 6 that's required, I do want to start working on this then. Some students wait until their entire internship is over, then they go back and work on all 6. That's fine as well. I just recommend that you kind of do that as you go along. And then the very last thing that we do, last 2 things, you'll have one more conference with me and your mentor, and your mentor will do an assessment on you as well. That is how this process works. So there really shouldn't be an error between 7 and 1. But so that's how this rotates through the process. Do you have any questions as we're going along here? If you do, go ahead and type it in that chat with me. Give me just a moment. I'm going to take a brief copy. Any questions? All right. So moving along, and again, if you have a question, go ahead and type that on there. That's fine. Okay. So we talk about what a pre-course activity here. Your application and your mentor agreement really should have been done before today. If you're still working within your mentor agreement area, let me know and we'll be trying to help you. The other thing that's happening behind the scenes, this is not part of you, is the affiliation agreement. CMU takes care of this between CMU and your school district. This is a legal contractual agreement here as well. So you really cannot do any of collecting your hours or anything until we get an approval for you to do this. If for some reason we're not getting this agreement, we will take care of it, okay? This is something we do not want our students to be involved in at any step. We don't want you walking into the board office going, hey, they haven't got my agreement yet, how's it coming along? Where is it? We don't want that. We want this to work between us. I mean, this is something that really is dealt with the school district and CMU's lawyers. And so that's kind of how this will be too. So we've got a couple questions on here as well. First of all, can you have 2 mentors, vice principals, and a principal? This is a situation we would have to talk about. It has happened in some cases for specific circumstances. So you would have to work with us. In most cases, we really would rather have it be a one-on-one with you and your working administrator. Now, it can be a assistant principal if they have been in a position for at least 3 years. Then it could be something like that. I would really recommend you stay with one and you work hard with one and develop a close relationship with one, and more of the senior administrator of the 2 if possible. But we can talk about that. Thank you. Another question is there a place in Blackboard to go back and refer this information? Absolutely. Remember, your internship handbook, which is on the Blackboard site, has all of this in there as well. But I will be putting this presentation on the website hopefully tomorrow. That will be posted on there as well. And you can go back and review it. I have to do some weird tweaking to it. I have to convert it files and put it on YouTube and some things of that nature. But yes, you will have access to this information. Plus, you always have access to me. Okay? I'll be telling you this later on as well. But I really, really want you to contact me. I don't care if it's Saturday, if it's Sunday, whatever it may be. I also seem to get back to my students much better if they text message me, okay? Because I don't know where I'm going to be at the time, and I'm not always checking my email. But I really would recommend you do that. And another thing that's important, make sure you're checking your CMU email. I do not use your personal email. I don't even have access to it. I really would prefer you checking it. Now, if you can, and I know there's a way of doing this, if you need to, have your CMU email automatically forwarded to your personal or school addresses wherever you do access. I really, really would recommend that to you. If you email me with a personal email address, I respond right back to that email and it'll go right back to the personal email address. So announcements and things like that that come out from me through Blackboard especially go straight to your CMU email. So do make sure that you're checking those. Okay? But yes, you will have access to this information here as well. Okay, so phase one tasks, they are due by April 15th. You'll be submitting everything in Blackboard. Now, you've gotten my announcements. I just want to say it again. Even though you were registered for one section of the section number for 699, the one you'll be using for everything, announcements out for me, contacting each other, submitting your assignments, checking your grades, everything will be in that EDL 699 extended 2018-500. That 2018-500 really is a code showing that you started in spring of the fiscal year 2018. So, but everything will be in that. Now, why do we use that extended shell? Why did I create that, transfer you all into it, etc.? It's because that one will be around for 5 or 6 years. We have interns that are taking that long because they start in their internship and they change schools, something happens in their work situation or their mentor leaves, whatever it might be, and it has to go longer. The only way we're able to keep that a shell open for you for a length of time is if we have this extended shell. And so, yes, you are still registered in that 8-digit course, but this is the one that really your grades, everything are going to be required. Okay? On your transcripts and when I submit grades eventually at the end, it'll probably be in the other course number that we can. But as far as everything you do for me and for this course, it'll all be in the extended course. Okay? So you're going to be uploading your internship application. Probably if you already sent that in, I'll be putting those into Blackboard for you. And another thing that's important to understand is I keep everything you submit. So when you submit assignments to me, I actually put it onto a shared drive with the department because if we're ever audited by the state of Michigan, we want to be able to say, absolutely, take a look. Here is this person's organizational profile. Here is their learning plan. Here's their activity analysis that they did so that we can show complete compliance with the state of Michigan. So if a year, 2, 3 years down the road you need something, let me know. I can still get those assignments for you. But anyway, so you'll be doing your organizational profile. And again, you get to count up to 40 hours on that. You'll be able to start using your internship log immediately with those 40 hours. But you're not going to turn it into me until the very end of phase 2. There's going to be a mentor log kind of thing that will just show me the dates and everything that you've met with your mentor. But the actual internship log will be submitted till phase 2. But you'll be completing hours on it in phase 1. Okay, you'll have your draft internship learning plan schedule, we call that as well. I don't really care for the name schedule, other than being more of a table, because it doesn't really put dates and target dates and things like that for you on it. It just shows really what those activities are. You're going to have a conference with your mentor and with you. I'll have that conference with the 3 of you. And in speaking about conferences and meetings and your mentors, one thing I tell my students over and over is to make sure that you develop a communication plan with your mentor. I had an intern last semester tell me, my mentor says he doesn't know what I'm doing, what I'm working on. I'm like, well, whose fault is that? To find out loud. So what I recommend to my students is that you set something up, whatever it may be. What seems to be easy for many is having a Monday morning email memo to your administrator saying, this is everything I did last week, this is everything I'm going to do this week ahead. And that way the mentor knows exactly what's going on. What did Kim do? Oh, she was working on this, and then she was working on this week. Okay, great. So have a constant communication plan. Email, I only like that because it gives you a written record. Yes, I did communicate with you. And it gives your mentor the opportunity to go back and look at things at some other time. Did she say she was working on that? Let back a couple emails. Yes. Oh, yes, she did. Good. So you'll have your schedule, you'll have your conference with me and your instructor, your mentor, and then you're going to be having this leadership observations that form that 20 hours. Like I said, you're going to be recording on this observation form in 20 hours, and yes, it'll be duplicated back on your internship log. Two reasons. Number one, the mentorship form, that truly is an assignment for working through phase one and two. The internship log is what helps provide information to the state of Michigan that and data on how many hours you did spend in doing a meaningful internship. Okay. Again, if you have any questions as we go along, please go ahead and check those in. Okay. Uh, there we go. So a suggested timeline, and again, it's just suggested. Now, here's some things. First of all, you have to understand is you're going to be busy. Okay, you're going to be busy. I promise I will be getting an email from one of you that said, man, it was tough. I'm working on this for this instructor, and he's been hammering us with written assignments. And I'm going to get the emails from you. I know I will. And I understand, and all of us do. And you've been this way in your other courses. You're trying to balance your family. You're trying to balance your personal life. You're trying to balance your academic life, your work life. You're trying to balance this. I understand. Do your best to be the most ultra organized person you can picture. So one way is set yourself target dates and goals. Okay, you have to set it. Again, this is not a class with a bunch of due dates. You have one due date, April 15th. So you need to set these dates for yourself. Here's some recommendations. Immediately, if you have in your mentor agreement to us, you have your application in already, start working on the organizational profile. Within the handbook are some great examples on how to do it. And I believe even perhaps in this presentation there might be some. But there are some great examples on what it should look like. And if you need, I still have old ones. I can delete some names and give you some examples, some very good ones. But we do give you a great outline to follow as you're going through, so it should have all the components that it should have. So start very first thing, you can start working on that organizational profile and the log, okay? And again, that log is recording your hours, how many hours you were working on, different times you sat down on your organizational profile, okay? Um, start working on your learning plan. Now, this, I don't like this. I need to fix this particular slide here. Because you can see under October, mid-November, we have your mentor observations. I'd move that back as early as possible. Move that back up in here even before you start on your learning plan. I really want you to get that organizational profile done and your with your log kind of working simultaneously on that concurrently, as well as observing your mentor, doing those mentor observations. I really would recommend that back in September, October. Once you've completed those, and you've gotten your internship learning plan completed between October, sometime into November, then you and I will meet with your mentor. The three of us will meet. And we hope to do that. I would really do that somewhere in mid-November if we can. Okay? And this is very crazy. We should be with September. What am I saying? This should be, I'm sorry, January, February, March, in March to April. So within January and February, working on your profile. Within February to March, get these things and start having your conference with me and your mentor sometime within, if you can, in March at some point. Then by April 15th, you'll be submitting the rest of your internship log, etc., for phase one to be complete. I really hope that you will try not, don't say, well, I'll just, if it's not till April 15th, that's when I'll make sure I'll do it by. I really start getting slammed with a lot of observation, with a lot of mentor meetings, not only by this class, but all the students who are already working in phase two. So I really would rather have it, if possible, a little bit earlier, if you can. If not, no problem. I work with this. And when we have our meetings, they'll be through whatever format works. Many school districts, their computer systems are guarded by software which will not allow for things such as WebEx or any meeting or Zoom, anything like that. They're blocked or somehow guarded. I have FaceTime. I'll FaceTime the two of you, but I do want to have all three of us in the room. I'd rather it wasn't just a conference call. I'd rather be able to see face to face when I talk with you. So that's kind of what we're looking at. That that's timeline for phase two. And again, I apologize for the mix-up on that particular slide. But all phase one tasks should be completed and submitted to me by the 15th. So again, it talks about some rubrics that we have for you and some samples that are out there. We'll have those in the either in Blackboard for you, etc. And Blackboard is living. That's the way the format that it is right now is not the final format. I'll be making changes to it again, making things more usable for you. So we do have rubrics in there for that organizational profile, for your learning plan, the log, and those when we get down to the log and the analysis part of phase two. We have rubrics for you there as well. I mean, many people actually live by the rubrics, so really are hoping that you look at those types of things as well. Just a quick preview of your phase two tests. First of all, you're going to document your fieldwork activities. That's everything you're doing, and as you're doing them, you're going to be also putting what types of ELCC standards and substandards did you learn or address them while you were doing that activity. So it's much more than, went to the board meeting with my mentor in 2 hours. Well, what standard does that help you accomplish? Okay, is that part of a larger political structure? Perhaps. So as you go through your school improvement meeting, did that go against standard order two? What subset of order two? And what you're going to find is many of your activities will cross over ELCC standards as well. This one captures 1.2, also 3.1, and 4.1. So you're going to be uploading those to me. I'll be giving you feedback on those things as well. The learning plan will be uploaded in phase two. Your internship log will be uploaded in phase two. And then the mentor assessment, all part of phase two, as well as the conferences. Now understand, your initial conference that you're going to have with your mentor and I, that's after you've done your mentor observations, after you've done your organizational profile, after you have done your draft of your learning plan, you will schedule the appointment for the three of us. Don't wait for me. What you'll do is you'll send me some dates and times and give me an opportunity to pick from a few because I have meetings throughout the day from a couple choices. I understand sometimes it's 7:30 in the morning before school. Sometimes it's at lunch. Sometimes it's after school. That's fine. I'll work with you. You'll be the one that will be in control of setting up the meeting. The purpose of the meeting for the three of us really is going to be to go over that learning plan. So you do need to make sure that you've given that to me. I've had at least a good day or two to review it, to make some comments to myself that we can revisit when the three of us meet. And so that's kind of how these meetings. And then your final conference will be the exact same way. You're going to say, hey, Pat, I think that we're ready for I'm ready for the final conference. Everything is in. My mentor is available these days, these times. Will that work for you? Okay? And then we'll go from there. The due dates, again, we've talked about this, and I'm apologizing for the advanced slide. It's got to be, the final conference, if you're not going to be working on this over the summer, and many of our interns will do phase two perhaps, or phase one in the spring, phase two in the fall. It has to be by December 15th of 2018 to get that in. Otherwise, it would be due during the end of the summer session. We find that it can be more difficult during the summer. Yes, I got more time, but sometimes your mentor is not available in the summer. They actually get time off as well, and it can be hard. Or they're doing a lot of just in-work paperwork type activities because they're not dealing with meetings and parent meetings and dealing with students and things. So many of our students will also just carry this over and actually do it then into the fall semester, and that's fine as well. So what do the assignments look like? Now, I've given you much of an overview of most of the assignments, and so you may not spend much time on this. With your organizational profile, we're wanting to know everything about your school and your community. Okay? The entire profile is 3 to 5 pages, single space. Okay? Not my druthers, it's something the department would rather you had, single space. But 3 to 5 pages, single space. It does not need to be in APA formatting or anything of that. Just make it good, clear, and concise. You might include some things on your school district as well, which is okay. I mean, but the focus really is on the building you're in. I've had interns give me activities that deal, which are really district types of issues. And that's not what we want because you're not going for a central office administration. Actually, I got to turn on the lights here. Second. There we go. We have motion sensors in the building. Um, they want to do things that are, like I said, very, very district, oriented. We want you to really focus on the building because that's where your first stop is going to be as an administrator, is working in the building. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. In the internship handbook, you should have a copy of that. The PDF is on my computer. Make sure that, or on Blackboard, make sure that your administrator has a copy of the internship handbook. It will give them everything that you are required to do. They will know as well. The profile, this is factual information and things that you observed about the culture of your building, how students get along, how the staff gets along, and whatever it may be. I had one intern kind of give me a whole thing on the teacher's lounge. I apologize, it was not one of my interns. It was one I read of another instructor had to do this. It was an organizational profile. But in this, they talked about the teacher's lounge and what kinds of teachers sat at what parts of the table even. Those things are okay to put within your organizational profile. It really talks about the culture of your school. So you have to write a summary paragraph for each of there's 11 components, different sections, and these are just a paragraph of each. An example it says here, where it says, write a paragraph that describes the community under section 1. You use data. And so you can tell about the size of your town, the primary industry. Why would it be important to know the size of your town and the type of main industry? Because those are the people who are your students and your staff are those people who are living in that community, parents or students who are working in those industries. And so it's very important to know those kinds of things as well. So it says use the prompts as prompts, and you don't have to respond to all of them. But again, it needs to be complete, and the rubric will help you make sure that you're having a complete document. Here are the types of components that are in there. The community, the students, the families. You could talk about your free and reduced lunch. You can talk about single versus married households in your community. What other things you may think are important things that may be affecting your students' learning. Okay? The faculty and staff, what are they like? Education levels of them. Have they been around long? Do you have a new staff? Are they primarily one gender or the other? Are they primarily one type of racial mix or the other? Think all things, and keep this in mind, the things that will affect students' learning and teachers' teaching. Your outcomes, okay, which would be your standardized test scores, and some things of that nature. The physical building. What is this building like? This is a building that was built in 1931. When we hit mid-May, it's about 98 degrees in every classroom, and they're sweating. This is important. It's a new building. It's ergonomic. The desks are ergonomic for students. Talk about these kinds of things. Okay. The culture. We talked about a little bit about that. Talk about the leadership. What are your administrators like? Is your school a revolving door? Now, doesn't mean anything negative about a school if administrators come and go. What it may be is that you are perhaps in an area that's smaller and is really kind of the first training ground for many administrators. They come into your building, they learn, and then they move on to bigger and better things. There doesn't say anything negative about it whatsoever. What is it? What's the organization, especially within leadership? What's it like? What's the structure of it? The discipline? How is it handled? Are you using RTI or some other things that are out there as well? Um, are you using what's the financial structure? You know, you're operating in a deficit. You're operating in a good financial stable situation. What is it like for you? I've had some schools in different areas where we got 10,000 to spend. We don't know how to spend it. Oh, the problem we have. Um, what is the finance and the budgeting like for your school? And then also the curriculum. What is it like, and what is it? Are you embracing some new type of curriculum structure? Um, Depending on the type, whether you're in charter schools, whether you're in the traditional K-12 schools, whether you're in a private school, within what you're doing, what is the curriculum process like when a new course wants to be introduced into your school? Who's the instructional leader? Truly, the instructional leader of your school. You might deal with that in number 7. You might deal with that in number 11 there as well. So here is a sample. Okay, what is the community like? This talks about this elementary school. Now notice we didn't say the such and such school district. Okay, up front. We said the school is in here and it's part of this district here. Because again, your focus is on the school that you're going to be doing your internship with. Talk about your community. Perhaps it's a very religious-based community by history. There's a small town near me, a Catholic population from way back in the 1800s, a large Catholic church. That influences things, much so. And then looking at transient populations, this particular one, and it talks about that breakdown, the cultural background and breakdown as well. And then it talks about a credit union that's actually working within the organization here too. So just kind of a sample of one of the areas that we have here. Now the next thing you're going to do is your learning plan. This is the part that is very, very important to me that you get it right up front. Yeah. Not just getting exercise, I have to stand up and wave my arms to the lights back on. So your learning plan, 3 to 5 pages, okay? That is a roadmap of the activities. Now we talk about 3 to 5 page plan. This is actually a table, okay? You can create your own based kind of on the format that we use. So if it's easy for you to type in things like that, absolutely do that. It's a big table, actually. The activities that you're going to participate in to demonstrate the standard. There's 6 standards. You're going to have 6 different activities. Okay, 6 different ones, one for each. Now I'm going to warn you about something right now. We went through a process where I had a student do the entire plan. It was wonderful. This internship was going to knock it out of the park. When the student got done and I had the final plan with their mentor, it was nothing like the original plan. Matter of fact, what this person did was, rather than following the plan, they decided to recreate the whole plan based on things they just did in their job, and it didn't correspond with the standards, whatever. In this case, that student is going to have to do his over again. That's scary, but it shouldn't be, because a plan is a plan. A plan isn't just an assignment, and I'm going to do these activities on my own. I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to make them work into this. No, it doesn't work that way. For you to have the best experience possible, you're going to plan this out, and that your activities are going to correspond with standards, and you are going to be well-rounded and ready to lead the school. That's what we want for you. So, 6 activities that correspond to the 6 standards. And you're going to come across some examples that I'm not real wild about. So anyway, here's a template. Create this on your own in a table, okay? At the top of the page, it says, and again, I need to keep putting this note, each activity, focus on a standard. Start out 1 through 6. So your activity area will be ELC Standard 1, etc. Then you're going to have 2 goals for that area. Each one of the goals will have 3 steps to make sure you meet your goal. So the three things, step 1, 2, and 3, are there. That's the process of meeting the goal. So step 1, 2, and 3, the process of meeting goal 1. In that process of meeting goal 1 through these 3 action steps, these are the different standards that I accomplish. It should obviously be very weighted on, if it's the first activity area, very weighted on ELCC standard number 1. Yes, there's going to be crossover. You're going to put, and I also met 3.0 and 4.2 and 5.1, whatever. You can put those in there as well. But it should be very heavy, of course, on ELCC standard 1. The same as you go through 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you and your mentor are getting stuck, I just don't know what steps I can do to help meet this goal, let me know. I'll give you some activities. I'll give you some activities that other students have done, some steps that other students have followed, or other ones that I can think of would work really well in your situation and be doable. Because that's the other thing as well, is the time frame. As we're going through this plan, and this is something else I need to kind of let you understand, is students are going to say, when do I get this all done? Understand that you're not going to do all 240 hours face-to-face with your administrator. You can't. It's just not going to happen. What you're going to be doing is, of course, 40 hours towards your learning plan, that takes you down to 200. 20 hours of mentor observation, that takes you 180. Now we have 180 hours. But perhaps one of your plans is like rewriting the student handbook or something like that. Well, you may be doing that at home. And then you're going to take that handbook, the next step. You're going to be bringing this draft to a committee and working with them. Okay? Then you're going to record those hours. But out of those 5 hours, or 2 of them were you sitting down at the computer. You can record those 2 hours. 3 hours now was with meeting with the committee to go over those things. So your hours are going to be spent not just face-to-face here and there. It may be you working on your own, completing an activity. And what I like I always tell my mentors is that we're hoping this is a win-win, that you're able to do some things that they wish they had time to do and would be an awesome thing for them to do, but they don't have time. Now you're able to do something that they would have done, and I'm not talking about parking lot duty and checking the hall for trash. I'm talking about creating helping with a vision statement for a new committee that you're starting or whatever it may be. So that's the idea that they have behind this. Your 180 hours, you're going to look at the calendar and go, my gosh, I only have a planning period, I have before school, I got after school. You're going to be doing some evening things, you're going to be doing some Saturday things, you may be doing some Sunday things, but perhaps your Saturday and Sunday things may be at home on your computer. They're not necessarily all face-to-face. And I understand you're going to be having some of you are taking a second class at the same time. It's tough. You're going to have to make it work, okay? But just really carefully plan your time, the things you can do when. Once you have created this great plan, I would go through it and start circling, when am I going to accomplish these kinds of things? You're going to be actually going across, 6 different of your learning plan activities at the same time. I'm working on this, and I got a meeting on this, and I'll be working on this activity over in ELCC 5. You're going to be working on several at different times. You're not going to, I did 1, it's done. I completed activity 2, I'm done. I completed 3. No, you're going to be doing as things fall and as opportunities arise within the school. Any questions about that? How that works? Okay. So again, we kind of already talked about the 2 goals, the actions that you're going to be doing, and the action steps. And I shouldn't have to say this, but again, I had a student do this just last semester. Her actions, this person's action steps were: the students will stand in a straight line, the students will do this, and the students will do this. Well, that's not steps. Those are little goals you may have for yourself, but they have nothing to do with this plan. Now, perhaps if it is, the action step 1 is create a process for students to stand while working in the class, while being in the cafeteria, and work with student leaders on how they will be holding their volume at lunch or whatever. Those absolutely, but not goal. These are the things the students will do. Okay, kind of like how perhaps a lesson planning might be. You're actually having the goals for the students. Okay, next thing. So the standards now, and kind of look just briefly at them. We're going to look at two. As you look in your ELCC guide, you're going to come across pages that will look just like this. You'll notice that they all start with a building level education leader. Okay, they apply their knowledge and promote success of every student by collaboratively facilitating the development, articulation, implementation, and stewardship of a shared school vision of learning through collection data use too. And then each of these standards will go into a new area. So the first standard really deals with school goals, organization effectiveness, school plans. Okay, so within here, this may be, or ELCC Standard 1 really deals with school improvement, okay, and that type of thing, looking at school progress, how we're doing. So you'll have one standard 1.0, but then you have, like I said, these sub-elements here, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, okay? If you look down these may give you some kind of clues as to the activities you may do. So if you look down here, 1.4, revising school plans, okay, whatever it might be. 1.5, the effective use of technology in learning, okay? Not just, this wouldn't be an area where you'd say, and my plan is to get us new computers and to write a grant for new computers or something like that. No, it's how are you using that technology. Maybe it's the adoption of a new software package for learning, and you're going to be creating a plan for teaching students and staff how to use it, perhaps. So those are the kinds of things that you look at when you have these standards. Okay? Now, taking the first one, taking the standard and applying it into your plan, here's how it may look. Goal 1, analyzing the current curriculum. Step 1, you would participate in a task force, examining, revising the school curriculum. Then another step, participating in a team in revising a course or curriculum subject. In step 3, leaving in some aspect of the annual budget proposal. Now, you might look at 3 and go, what does the annual budget proposal have to do really with that? Well, based on curricular needs and areas, you may be developing the annual budget proposal. So you may say that, we really need to bump up our math, and we're going to need to get some software packages in math, and we're going to have to hire some consultants to come in, whatever it might be. Well, again, now you may have to work on the budget then to meet these other curricular areas. And it should be goal 1 and goal 2, not goal 1 and goal 1. I apologize. And goal 2, and for every one of these, remember, you're going to have 2 goals. Goal 2, revise the current curriculum. What's being taught right now. Work with a partnership, whatever it might be. So I don't think this particular example is a very good one in my opinion here. But that's kind of how these things go. You're going to be looking at you can make sure that your steps really apply to the activity area that of curriculum, let's say, and the goals that you have set for yourself to do. I think something happened in this slide, but this doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I know you'll have a good one with your mentor. And then standard 3 talks about some different ones as well. All right, so the first conference that you're going to hold, all right, this is to be approved. You must have the conference with me. You cannot collect your 180 hours until you have the meeting with me and your mentor. You cannot collect your 180 hours of doing it, okay? Everybody understands. You cannot collect your 180 hours until we have this conference. The reason I said it 3 times is because I had 3 different students ask me last semester, even after I told them. So hopefully the 3 of you out there who may be going to ask me the question, I just answered. But the purpose is twofold. Number 1, the meeting goes with your mentor to make sure they understand what their role is, what they've got to do to be an effective mentor in this case. We all may have had, when we were doing our student teaching, you may have had a student teacher supervisor that kind of threw you to the wolves. I did. I had two different supervising teachers, and I had one guy literally, here you go. He introduced me to the class, and that's basically the last I saw of the guy. Okay, he got the paycheck, I paid tuition, but that happens. So we really want to make sure that the mentor understands that it's a participatory relationship with you. It's not, great, here's some stuff, go do it, meet you at the end. The second thing really is to discuss your learning plan. Now, I understand that you and your mentor are going to be creating this document, so I'm not going to walk into this meeting going, nah, this isn't good, you're not, whatever. No, I'm going to work with you to make whatever plan you have developed, make sure it aligns with the standards, giving you some suggestions, a way to word things, and how to accomplish some of these things to make sure that you're having a great plan, but even more so, a really great internship experience as you go through that. The internship log, that will acquire all 240 hours of your experiences recorded. Okay, you won't turn it into me though until phase 2, the end of phase 2. So as you're going through phase 1, you've got 20 hours of your observation. You're recording it in your internship log. You recorded various times up to 40 hours of creating your organizational profile. And again, you're not going to give me 40 hours. You're going to do 2 hours here, 3 hours here, 4 hours here, whatever you go through. When you get those done, put them on your internship log, but do not turn that into. Hang on to that. And then the activities in your log only to your mentor observations, your school profile, organizational profile preparation, and the things you were doing within your internship goals. Okay, those are the things that will be on there. All right. So it should, like I said, it should specify the dates you did it, how much time it took you to do it, round it up to even hours. Describe the activity to me. Okay. Worked on school improvement plan with school improvement team. Presented to the school board. Presented the new math curriculum to the school board. 2.1 hours, and the date it would be dated, on 4/19. So make sure you have those things on there and what you did. And there's 3 things we really, how your internship is broke down. I don't know if I can remember off the top of my head. Let's see if I can look at that. What my goal is for you in the 180 hours is that 20 hours of what you're doing in your plan is observation. So even though you're doing 20 hours of observation with your mentor, you may be doing 20 more hours of observation sitting in a meeting, just sitting there listening, okay? I'm hoping you're able to attend maybe your administrators' meetings and things like that. So 20 hours is that. We really want you to have another 70 hours of working in teams, okay? Working with administrative teams and with teachers, again, fulfilling your internship leadership plan goals. And then the last thing is we want about 90 hours of leading. Some of that 90 hours may be you making a presentation, leading a group activity, working on taking the school improvement team to this type of an area. Those are the things. Creating this, that's leading. Do those kinds of things, okay? So your 180 hours should be broke down by, again, 20 hours of observation, 70 hours participation, 90 hours of leadership. That's what we're hoping to as you go through the form. Okay? And just kind of a copy of the log. This is kind of how it looks. And again, recreate this, if you would, please. This is what I'm looking for. Right? And if you're missing any of these columns, I'm going to ask you about them. So make sure you get these types of things. When you did whatever it was you were going to do, how long did you do that activity for? What standards were kind of met that you were working at related to these? And what was your role? Were you leading? Were you assisting? Were you participating? Or were you observing? What were you doing? Okay, in this. So this is the sample of what it will look like. And again, I'll have this presentation loaded. I will email you a PDF version of this. of this presentation tonight, so you will have this here as well. So here are some tips, okay? And we're almost done here. First of all, don't group the hours into one activity like I said. Don't put, I work 40 hours on this. I work 3 hours. I work 4 hours. I work 2 hours. I work 1 hour. I work 8 hours. And then exactly break it down. Don't group your dates. Well, from February to June, I put in 30 hours of this. Okay? Don't do that. Again, it's got to be as detailed as you saw right here. Okay? I collected, reviewed data. I observed the principal presenting data on this, not just observed principal, but this is what they did. And you notice how we have here? The activity was my org profile. The activity was my mentor observation. The activity here was on my activity 4 of my learning plan. Remember, you've got 6 activities, 1 through 6. I was working on activity 4. Okay, of the answer 6. So be that detailed as you go through your log. Okay. So your observations, and again, this would be some of the very first things you're going to do. Okay. So as you're going through them, you've got to do your 20 hours. Again, they have to be certificated administrators. We do that part of the mentor approval process. Okay. Record it on the internship log form. Again, recreate it. That's okay. I really would rather you recreated all of these, if you wouldn't mind. The reason for it is because some students will grab the one template and they will just, the first page has all these examples on the first page that we put on there. I'd rather that wasn't there. Just delete that and start with your own things as well. So when that 20 hours is up, you're going to have your mentor sign that. I don't even think there might even be a place for them to sign. Just on the bottom of the page, have them sign it and date it, okay? And then scan that, send it in to me. Anything that needs signatures on it, such as your learning plan, you're going to need to have it scanned and sent to me. You can't just send me the spreadsheet, okay? It's got to have the signature of the mentor on it. That way, I know that you're working with them in the creation of your plan. So again, here's a sample observation form, okay, like we talked about before. You worked on standard 1, you know, you have this many hours, you have this many standard 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now this is phase 2. This will not happen until the summer or next fall in most of your cases here, okay? So activity analysis, what is it? I mentioned it briefly. Evidence that you have met these competencies and what you learn from each of them, okay? It has 5 parts, okay? Each one of these has 5 parts. Notice on the bottom, it's 1.5 to 2 pages in length, okay? That's all. But each one, you're going to identify the standards in this activity. It should be real easy to tell that part 1 was, you know, all on the standards were all around the LCC standard 1. You should all know that on the second activity analysis, these standards are going to be all around 2.0 instead of those. Talk about your goal. Indicate what that goal was, and tell us about the activity in the event and how it relates to a goal. Now, in each of your activities, you're going to have 2 goals. In this case, you're going to be able to select one of those goals. So even though the very first part of your learning plan, you had goal 1 and 2, pick which one you want and do your activity analysis on that one. The one you really learn from the most. So do a synopsis. I really do not want the synopsis to be the largest part of this document. I want you just to let me know. We put on a school event where we did this, 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 and this. Now here, part 3 is the biggest part of this. What did I learn from this activity? Part 4 is not part of the 1.5 pages. That is supporting artifacts. So a copy of the program, a copy of the revised handbook, or the revised guide, or standards that you looked at. That's what we want for those. And you can, I don't care how many of those you have. You can have a bunch of those. but the actual writing portion, 1.5 to 2 pages, big time focus on the reflection of what you learned from the activity. Okay? Let me see. And here's something that's important, and this is again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. So, am I expected to be out of my class during the school day in order to achieve 180 hours? This is what I said before. No, you are not. You have a job. You are paid to teach 5 or 6 hours a day to your students. You're paid for that. Now, if your administrator says, I have this meeting I really want you to go to, and I'm going to get you a sub, then sure. But otherwise, like I said, you may be going on your lunch breaks. You may be doing things on your planning period if your administrator approves it. You may be doing things before school, after school, in the evenings, whatever it may be, to get these hours in. That's why it's really important on the planning process of your activities. How can I do these hours based on the parameters that I have in front of me? Okay? But no, you are not expected. We cannot say, yeah, you need to get out and get subs, get this done. No. And you know what? That's also why some students say, for me to have the absolute best experience, it's going to take me 2 years. And some students opt to do that, hence why we have the extended shell to go as much as 5. Because some students realize that in my situation, I can't get out of the classroom. In my situation, it's going to be happening during the summer. My instructor has a summer retreat he wants me to go to learn this particular thing. And so it may happen that way. Okay? So I hope I answered that for you as well. But no, we do not expect you to do the 180 hours out of your classroom without permission. Okay? Not part of our expectations for it. Okay? So again, this is kind of what the activity analysis will look like, and that's all part of phase 2. Then we have the second conference. What I will do, I want you to understand this now, full disclosure, I will call your mentor first and have a private conversation with them first. It has not happened to me, but I have heard that it has happened, where all of a sudden the mentor meeting happens and the mentor says, this person's not ready. They're sitting with you and I saying, they're not ready, I'm having I have this problem with them. I don't want that to happen to you or I or your mentor. I will call them first to make sure everything is good. This last semester, I literally had 30 phase 1 students, and all of them said this person was wonderful. We had a great experience. We're looking forward to moving on with this internship. So at the end of this, I want the meeting first to make sure everything is good before the 3 of us actually sit down face to face. And if there is something that would be drastically wrong or bad, we wouldn't have our 3-way meeting. I'm doing this for your benefit and mine as well when we sit down. So we sit down, we talk about your progress. You'll tell me about some of the things you learned, the activities. You'll chime in on different stuff. But you're going to be giving me the activity analysis prior to this, so I kind of have a heads up, kind of look at the activity and ask you questions in our final meeting about that as well. Okay? So that's what the final meeting is like. Talking about what happened, what changes you may have to make to your plan, etc. as well. After the final conference, okay, you'll send me, okay, or the mentor will send the signed mentor assessment form, okay, and give it to you to upload to Blackboard. And you will send it right in, that you'll upload your log, the final internship learning plan. You'll send in all these things in Blackboard to me. You will not be emailing me any documents like this. This is all going to be submitted to Blackboard. Some other tips for you here as well. First of all, a timeline. I really, really encourage you to set a timeline for yourself. Okay? Look at your activities. Look how they may fit into each other, things that you've got going on. Find out what kinds of meetings and things you can do. I would really encourage you to talk with your mentor and make sure they give you every opportunity to learn as all possible. Go to school board meetings. Learn what's going on there. Bring those things at the meeting back to a staff meeting. Talk to your staff about it, or create memos about what's going on at meetings like this. And this is something I hope in your plans I see more of. One thing that's extremely important for administrators is that they communicate. Because there's something you'll learn. Number one, if a school does not communicate what they're doing, according to the school, according to the community, they're doing nothing. So, and to the school board, unless you communicate what's going on, they feel you're doing nothing. So you need to communicate be used to doing that. After you do this, you create this, report that to someone, an administrative team, the school board, your staff, to a department. So be ready to communicate the things that you're doing as well. Okay? It says schedule and structure meetings times with your mentor. Commit to making all appointments. Understand that your mentor is a busy person that's on call. You may have scheduled a meeting, but a parent came in screaming. Understand that parent has got priority. Okay? The child gets hurt, whatever it is. The school still has priority. The mentor has priorities within their position. So work with them and learn from the things they go through. If they get called out of your meeting because they got to deal with a parent issue, find out if you can tag along. It's a great learning experience. Follow all the rules, regulations, confidentiality, FERPA requirements. Find out from your school the things you can and cannot do. There may be different types of personnel issues that are sensitive you cannot participate in or even observe. At other times, you may be able to sit in on a teacher evaluation with that teacher's permission, understanding you're only there to learn, not to be an evaluator. But perhaps do an evaluation and then compare those notes with your administrator when you get in private, that type of thing. Exemplify professionalism at all times. Dress like an administrator would dress. I know there's people who dress that way all the time. And there's people who have administrators that don't dress professionally all the time because of functionality. They're on the floor with kindergartners perhaps and things like that. Understand. Refrain from comments critical of your site, administrators, me, CMU, students you're with, whatever. Stay positive. You never know what this other person's feelings are about things as well. But we hope that you understand CMU is completely behind your corner or in your corner to help you through this process, again, to give you the best experience that you possibly can have. Just some other tips I kind of put in here too. Try to be involved in as many activities and take as many opportunities as you can to lead projects and lead groups. When you get feedback from your mentor, make improvements with it, okay? To be a better leader. I mean, they're out there. There may be things that you're not so wild about with them, but they're out there. So listen to it, okay? Listen to them and take some of their ideas. One of the things that I've found with a couple of my interns is the mentor had a hard time looking at the intern as a coworker versus as an employee of theirs, as a teacher staff. Do your best to have them understand when I'm here with you, I want you to treat me like a colleague, okay, rather than one of your employees, all right, one of your teaching staff. And then it says, be prepared to participate in activities related to the internship that may take place after school hours and our weekends. It may happen, folks. There may be meetings that are in the evenings. It may be right after school. It may be before school. You're asking me, we have to go 180 hours during the school day. It may not be able to happen completely. But we do want you to look at what things you can do to get your hours in within the parameters, again, that you do have. Take every opportunity that you possibly can. All right? And it's time for questions. Okay, I'm going to make an attempt to open up the microphones. There we go. I think I've opened up some of you. Let me continue here. There we go. All right, if you have any questions, now's a great time to ask. You can ask them verbally if you like. will make me call them. I've been wanting to say that for so many years since I've been in the classroom. Okay, Andrew, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Awesome. Courtney?
Not right now. It's a lot of information to process.
Absolutely. And that's why I hope you guys are in constant communication with me. I don't expect you to remember everything we talked about tonight. But I do want to make sure that you don't do unnecessary work on things because it was something we forgot about. Okay? Jennifer, any questions?
No, I think my only question was about having the two mentors, just because my principal and my I'm a small K-8 charter school. I'm about 400 students. My principal and vice principal work really closely together.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that'll be something, I'll have to email you about that.
Yeah, email me your entire situation, talk about it, make me your strong case.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Katie, any questions?
The 20 observation hours, so side could be done.
Any questions, Katie? If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
All right, Kim, any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, but again, after you do, please give me a call. Nathan, any questions?
No, not yet.
Okay, you will, okay?
Yeah.
No problem. And Samantha?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, well, I'll tell you what, Katie, I hear from you now. I've got maybe a poor connection. Folks, please, again, call, write, email. You'll have my email address, my cell phone number. Feel free to call me. I'm very good about responding to text messages. I have no problem in doing that. I might ask you don't do it between 10 and 12 o'clock on a Sunday or 10 and 12:30 because I'm in church. And the preacher frowns on me sitting there and texting. But otherwise, please reach out to me in any format you need. I'm here in my office at CMU. I'm here literally 8 to 5, 5 days a week. So please get a hold of me in any way you can. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Okay? I have experienced a lot, I've seen a lot, and I might have some good ideas for you. Okay? All right. Well, if there's no other questions, then I will let you get back to your families here tonight. And please, again, reach out with any questions you may have. And I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to working with you. And I know it's going to be a great internship experience for you. Have a great night, everyone.
Great, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.